So, tell me about that photograph.
I can just say first, my memory of New Braunfels goes back a long way because Mother's sister lived here, having married a New Braunfels native, Alvin Plumeyer. Her name was Helena, and at different times they lived in different places. Downtown, in those early days when I was just a baby, they lived above the bakery they had, which was in the block that was the second block south of the plaza. And of course I don't really remember. I have a sort of memory of looking out the window trying to see the train. Trains always, I guess, fascinate, or children are drawn to looking at trains. Well, hearing the train, I didn't hear the train from my home in Austin, so I was looking out the window trying to see the train. When the screen gave way and I fell out onto the metal awning that hung over the sidewalk. I guess more I'm remembering it from being told about it, but
You were on the second
floor.
Second floor, and you leaned up against the window, and the screen gave away?
Right.
And out you rolled onto the awning?
Yes.
Did you keep on rolling, or did you?
No. And then my mother somehow climbed down there and retrieved me. But this is one of the earliest things that happened over here with me. Another thing that happened was later, in later years, they had left the bakery business and were living out on near the river, above the river, in the property of Mr. Godey, who was a good friend of Uncle Alvin Plumeyer. Mr. Godey was the father of Mrs. Pfeiffer, and so connected with the Pfeiffer family. That family was the original owners of the house that we lived in on Mill Street. Like in this, jumping now to many years later after this little incident. But I have here a snapshot of Theodore Plumeyer, who was one of the cousins I had here. He had a sister. We never called her anything but sister, or if they were speaking German, there was Schwester. But her name was Emma Emilia. She and another first cousin of mine and I all had the names of our two grandmothers. So she had, and we all had the name of our grandmother Amelia Bastian. Our mother's was my mother's mother, and the father in the family his mother was Emma, so she was Emma Amelia. But she hardly was ever called Emma, even into her grown-up years. She and I were very, very congenial and saw a lot of each other, considering the fact that we didn't live in the same town. This was our favorite destination when we wanted to go somewhere on the weekend. And in summertime, after I was old enough to do that, I'd come over and stay a week. Generally a week was about the length of time I'd stay. But
what would you do during that stay?
well, one thing I did with her was when she was old enough to do that, she drove a bread delivery route and drove around in New Braunfels delivering bread to the homes. And that was something very different. And I can remember when they first were equipped with a bread wrapping machine. And so that was kind of fun for me to try to do that. I did. But the bakery was to see what goes on in the bakery. As I was older, of course. But what I could say about this snapshot is that this was taken out behind the bakery that was in the second block from the plaza and on the east side. And we used to play out in that area out there. I can't say exactly what we did, except that I remember playing with, trying to stir up something with flour and water, and so whatever guess we were playing baker, I suppose.
So there were the Plomeyers had two bakeries, did you say?
Well, look, the two families each had one separate at one time, and I believe they at one time were together in a bakery, but the town was very small to have. Must have been 3 bakeries here at one time at least, because I know that there was a time when these two brothers had separate bakeries, and the Naglin bakery was here at the same time. So
friendly family competition in the bakery business?
Well, yeah, they were never out of sorts. They were, as far as I know, they always had a friendly relation. Yes, we would see those people when we came over, as well as just
what would be
mother's sister.
What would be the main products of the bakery?
Well, they made all kinds of different breads, and the bakery. There's a bakery that I'm better acquainted with, but that they had later, where because I was old enough to go in there and really do something, maybe. My uncle always wanted to teach me how to make the Danish pastry, but we never did do that. But I've always had an interest in what they were doing there. What was particularly interesting that I'd never seen anywhere else, and never did after that. Take it back. I saw that in Germany, where an oven built into the wall